Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And from looking there at the video title, you're probably wondering what on earth is going on. What are you doing? What are you going to talk about here? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to talk about in today's video is something that has to be discussed. We've all been thinking it, we have all been wanting to talk about it, and in today's video, we are going to discuss it. We're going to be talking about the player power that has completely destroyed Barcelona from the inside. They've been given the power to really make the big decisions, and clearly, whatever's happening right now, inside the club, it's not working. The players have taken over, and believe me, that is bad news. Because I have to start by saying this. We are going to be talking about the players, and you all know my stance on Ernesto Valverde. Ernesto Valverde is not the coach of Barcelona. He should be removed from his position immediately, and what he's done for this club is not good. He's not taken us in the right direction. But, above all else, the root of the problems right now at Barcelona are the Barcelona Board. Bartomeu and his cronies have destroyed our club from the inside because they've allowed the players all of that power, and they've also allowed the coach to remain in his position. The board are in the position there, they have the power, they have the authority to make changes that really would have improved Barcelona, that really would have taken us back to the powerhouse of European football, but they haven't done that. They don't use their power, they've actually relinquished that power, and they've given it to the players, which at any club, in any capacity, is a recipe for disaster. And let me just explain what I mean by all this. I want to take you back now to Pep Guardiola's era. I want to take you back to Luis Enrique's era. And what I want to say there straight away about two of those coaches, two leaders of Barcelona, they both had different styles, they both had different philosophies, but they were both extremely successful at Barcelona, but they were strong personalities. They led that team, they led that dressing room, they commanded it. Out of everybody there, they were in control. It wasn't the board telling them what to do, they weren't yes men, and they didn't bow to the players, they were in charge. Fast forward now to Ernesto Valverde's Barcelona. He is a weak coach, and a weak man, and a weak personality. He has not led us for a single day in his Barcelona life, and he has let the players take over that dressing room. He has let them completely control what goes on out there on the field. And that's on Valverde, that's on the board. They shouldn't give them that power, and as a result, we are suffering. What I also want to say is, you've got to look at some point at the players too. It is the board, it is Valverde, make no mistake about that, but these players, they have not helped us. And in some degree, they have actually made these problems even worse by what they're doing. Because, I'll take you again back to Pep's time, back to Luis Enrique's time. We've had leaders in that dressing room, from Carlos Puyol, who's the best leader I have ever seen on a football pitch. And then you had senior players, you had Victor Valdez, you had Xavi Hernandez, you had Andres Iniesta, you had players like that in the dressing room who were the leading members. They were the captains there with or without the armband. They led that team. They controlled the dressing room, but in a good way. They led by example. They did the right things on and off the field, and they did things in a calm and controlled manner, and their only responsibility was what went on the pitch. They didn't get involved in anything off the pitch. They left that to those around them. The coach, who is a commanding influence, they left that there to a competent board perhaps. But fast forward now to what we have here today. There's no Carlos Puyol, there's no Xavi Hernandez, there's no Andres Iniesta. Those leaders have gone. In their place, you've got Gerard Piqué, somebody who Carlos Puyol, throughout his career here, actually there, kept Piqué under control. You've got Sergio Busquets, who's a leader, but he's not really outspoken. He's not somebody there who's actually going to stand up there and talk to the group and command that group. He's more of a silent leader there in the dressing room. And of course, now you've got a completely different dynamic. Those Spanish players, those core of players have gone. Now you've actually got friend groups. You've got Luis Suarez, you've got Lionel Messi, and you've got Gerard Piqué. I would say they're the three heavyweights of that dressing room. Piqué, very outspoken, has a lot of responsibilities outside of football, potentially right now has not got his full mind on the job. You've got Lionel Messi, the Barcelona captain. For some people, certainly, he's coming under criticism right now for what he's been doing off the pitch, and that relates very heavily to his very good friend, Luis Suarez. And the big question is right now at Barcelona, is it all about those friendships? Is it now become a club of who you're friends with, who's your mate, who's going to play? That's basically what we have become over the past season or so. And of course, it's the players' fault. The players shouldn't be doing those kind of things. The players shouldn't really have those kind of agendas, but it's the board and Valverde that have allowed the players all of that power to basically run the club? Because I'm asking you the question right now. You look at Piqué, you look at Messi, you look at Suarez. Those are very, very key, influential figures in that dressing room because we've allowed them to become that. If Rakitic was in that friend group, would he be pushed out? Would he have been cast aside like he has been doing now? And look, I actually believe the Rakitic's time at Barcelona has come to an end. I do believe that he should be sold. But what I'm saying is, if he was in their group, would that happen? The answer is no, because you could also argue the performance, the standard there of Luis Suarez. That would mean if he was in that friend group, he would have been sidelined far, far more often. And that's what I mean. Everybody in that team, they're not treated the same. Some players are given the benefit of the doubt because of who they're friends with. You look at somebody there like Junior Firpo, you look at Ousmane Dembele, you look at Antoine Griezmann, players there coming into this team and suddenly they're outsiders. Before they even get started here, they're outsiders. And this brings me on now to this big Neymar point. And I believe this season, what we're seeing from Barcelona, and in particular, what you're seeing there from the key heavyweights in that dressing room, is the disappointment of not signing Neymar. Because I know for a fact, we all know it, that Piqué, Messi, Suarez wanted Neymar to return. And you know why we know that? Because that's all they've done is talk about it. Every single interview that Messi does, that Piqué does, they talk about Neymar. They're asked about Neymar. They always want to say, we wanted him to come back. We still want him to come back. We'd welcome Neymar back with open arms. Gerard Piqué recently, he was asked about Neymar and he said something astounding. He said we were actually willing to receive our wages in a way that bypassed FFP to get Neymar back. They were basically willing to sacrifice their wages for a few months to actually there put them back and actually not receive them for a certain amount of time to give Barcelona there the funds to go and sign Neymar to get around the FFP regulations. That's what the players were willing to do. And the very fact that was brought up, it just highlights the players and the board over the summer were working together. They were trying to get Neymar back as a group. How does that work? How have the players now suddenly become so involved in our transfer plans? That again is a recipe for disaster. And the example I would give here is when you're at school and actually there you've got a football team going, you've got a sports team, you're the team captain, and suddenly then if your priority is not winning that game, if you start picking your friends and picking basically people who give you a good time to be in your team, suddenly then you're not going to be successful. Suddenly then your priorities are not in the right place. The second you give those players the authority, the control to actually there start dictating who we're going to sign and why, that is really, really a bad sign. You're going down a dangerous road. And I actually think this season, I didn't want to believe that Barcelona players were ignoring Antoine Griezmann. I still really don't know. I can go one way or the other on that one. But I do believe we've seen Griezmann out on the left-hand side for a very distinct reason. I believe Barcelona players, maybe the coach, certainly the board, they're almost putting Griezmann on the left there to say, look, Griezmann, he's no Neymar. He's not doing what Neymar could have done if we got him back. He's on the left wing. He's making no impact. You think there about what Neymar could have done. That's what they want us to believe. We're putting Griezmann there in a position that's not his own, that is not his natural one, but that's the position that Barcelona players, over the course of the summer, they wanted Neymar to fill, and Griezmann has come in. And that's not who they wanted. Griezmann is not their friend. And I just want to put it out there, guys, and I want to be completely honest with you right now. We started to hear some rumours in the summer, and right then it was pretty much impossible because he just signed. But in January, do not be surprised if rumours start to circulate that we would go and outright swap Antoine Griezmann. He'd go to PSG, and in return, we would get Neymar. Right now, I would honestly not be surprised if something like that could be in the works. And at the end of the day, I could understand Barcelona players being upset with Griezmann because, to be fair, Griezmann, a year before joining Barcelona, did reject us. He flat out said, I don't want to come. He turned his back on the club. And I can understand a bit of anger towards Antoine Griezmann because of that. But at the same time, you're willing to welcome Neymar back. It's exactly the same concept. But with Neymar, he's good mates. Everybody's good friends with Neymar. Neymar's a good time. Let's get him back in. And I'm just making the point here. Neymar, Griezmann, whoever it is, don't give them that power. They are players. You've got Lionel Messi, the greatest player ever to grace a football pitch, in my opinion. We've all seen that time and time again. Let him do his work on the pitch. Don't let them involved in off-the-field matters. That's not what they're there for. That's not who they're paid to be. They are footballers out there on the pitch. Aside from that, Don't get them involved. Do not give them that power to dictate who we're signing, to dictate who's playing, to dictate who starts where. Those kinds of decisions, that kind of control, it should remain with the coach. It should remain there of the hierarchy, who they want to bring in, and that's my point. The board are spineless. They have employed a coach who is weak, who doesn't control that dressing room, and the board have also allowed the players to become involved in the off-the-field decisions, and that has caused chaos. There are divisions right now in this dressing room. There are friend groups which are dictating far more than they should be. And at Barcelona right now, we are in chaos. The first way of solving all of this, the first way of really shaking up this dressing room is removing Valverde. But like I say, the board won't do that. If they do that, they bring somebody in who's a strong personality, and that's not what they want. They want a weak man there who's basically going to let them interfere, let them meddle, let them delegate the players there with that authority. And that's why Ernesto Valverde remains in power. And that, for me, that's appalling. The club right now are in desperate need of help. It's a disgrace. And I do feel really, really strongly about this, guys. And this has been a video for me which has been very difficult to make because I love so many of these Barcelona players. But at the same time, that's not going to continue. If we continue to see this kind of behaviour, players there who are putting their own interests ahead of the club's, that's not what we want to see. That is not the club and the players that we fell in love with. And we want our club back. Whatever it takes, we want it back. Because what we can see happening right now, this is not Barcelona. So please leave your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. I know that many of you have been feeling the same way. I know many of us now, we've been thinking about this. Today, we have to talk about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And of course, I'll be back. Make no mistake about that. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.